Alright, move on back to Mari. What we're gonna do here is start a new project. So click that new button, or here right click on new, and then we have to load in our model. Our model will be an FBX exported, which is this guy, and open that. We don't have to change anything else, just press OK. Alright, so this is our model imported. The first thing I noticed is that my model, of course, is the low resolution model, but I wanted to have a high resolution model to texture with. I can actually subdivide it here right in Mari. It's going to be right click on the object panel. If you don't have object, you can right click on top or on those, a gradient of any palette. And that's gonna be giving you the list of all the palette available. Go to objects, right click on the only one object in the in this list, right click and go to subdivisions. I'm gonna choose 2 subdivisions and press OK. Okay, when it is done, it's gonna look like this. You can feel that the model is now smoother. It's like a smooth preview. It may take 1 or 2 minutes if your model is a little bit more complicated than mine. Even the same amount of polygon as what I have here, it may take more time than you would expect. Anyway, so I also have the texture I exported from Photoshop. This one saved as a TIFF file. And then I'm just gonna drag it into my, before I do that, let me go here and also create a channel that we paint on. So let's go to the channels and then create each new channel. We can actually grab that diffuse and delete it, and then I'm gonna create a new channel. Now this new channel is actually my displacement channel. Okay. And the size will be 4K. You can name that whatever you want it to be. The depth will be 16-bit because that's the format we're using here. If you go back to Photoshop and take a look at the mode, we are using 16-bit RGB color. Okay, so you want to match that format. 16-bit, 4K is good. Color space here, open that color space. Make sure that your color space is sRGB. And the color here, make sure that it's 0.5 grayish color, not 50, sorry, 0.5 grayish color, and that's it. That's press OK to create that new channel that we're going to be painting on. I can turn off the wireframe now. Okay. The navigation is exactly like Maya, so you should feel right at home. Again, let me go back to the texture I saved as the TIFF from Photoshop. Just drag it into the viewport. That's going to enable the pencil brush, and the pencil brush is like the stencil in Matbox. What you do is you hold it on Shift and drag to move it, Control Shift and drag to scale it up and down, Control to rotate. If you wanted to do some more detailed setting, you can right click somewhere and go look for the 2 settings, which is 2 properties, and here you can even change more things. I don't want it to be there. Like how the texture is being placed, the image, the scale of the image, and things like that. But I don't really need those settings for now, so let me close that. Alright, I'm gonna do some projection here. Now let me go press the 5 button to go to front view and zoom in, and also zoom in as close as possible. Let's do the forehead first. Let me use the combinations of the shortcuts to position this stencil in front of the forehead. If you don't know how to operate this, you can actually look at this to help. Holding down R for radius of the brush, W to rotate the brush, and O to change the opacity, and squish is the Q, which is squeezing it up and down, if that makes sense. Really don't need to do that. Okay, and then you have the move image, which is shift, and rotation is control, and other things don't really care. Okay, so what do I do here? Well, I can just match it first with my forehead, and then I'm gonna draw. And when I start drawing, you see now I'm actually having some detail being projected on the model. I really don't want to see the highlight. I can change the shading mode to flat so it's easier to see. Anyway, now if it's the first time you're using Mari, you'll notice that after you're done, there will be some waiting rotation icon there, and the color will be already on the model. But mine, if you look at when I rotate my model, it doesn't change. It doesn't really live on the model. It's kind of like hidden in the invisible buffer, and that's actually what happens. So let me show you how to enable that. I just need to go to the projection part and change your bake behavior to clear only. That way it will keep the buffer until you tell it to clear. Anyway, let me reposition my texture here. Just make sure that you got that little detail, and then we can draw again. But before I apply the results, I'm gonna go use this slurp brush, holding down R to change the radius a little bit, and I'm going to use that to tweak this texture a little bit to make the contour match with my model, or the texture match with my model with better precision. Okay, and then when I'm happy with the placement, I'll press the B button. That's going to actually bake the color information on the model. Okay, so let me zoom in after the forehead. Let me zoom in a bit more and press the U button to go back to pass through. And I'm gonna find where the nose is. I bet that's the nose. So let me zoom in. And I'm gonna actually make it slightly more bigger. Alright, and then just draw out or block out this area. And maybe I need to forget to bake it here, and let me go to the side view and just rotate it a bit, and then also fill it into the side of the nose, and just draw it one more time to fill in that area, and B to bake, and eventually to the other side, and also project it. Alright, so now let's move on to this part in the middle, because it's kind of like being destroyed when I paint the different parts. So let me actually go really close here one more time, and then just find out that particular spot and reproject it. This guy for the eyebrow, the center of the eyebrow, because it's kind of like a very important and interesting wrinkle happening right here. So I would like to reproject it more or less to get a decent result, and press B to project it. Okay, alright, now let me move on to other parts. So we have finished the forehead and the nose. Let's move on and focus on the eye. Okay, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go to different views, and then you can zoom in. So I'm gonna zoom into the eye real close and find out where the upper eyelid is. Make a big scale here. Okay, and I'm gonna block this in. Maybe a little smaller so I can project more areas. Okay, looking good. And I'm gonna pen that out really carefully. And I'm gonna use the slurp brush one more time just to match it better. Okay. What you want to control is the direction of those veins around the eye. You want them to be positioned in a proper location and direction so that when they actually become detail, they really fit. Oh, shouldn't bake it yet. Let me do some tweaking here. Okay, just match them as good as possible. So that's the upper eyelid. I'm gonna move on to the lower eyelid. Press the U button to go back to the pencil brush. Let me create align the bottom of the eye to the bottom of the eyeball here, and then I can start drawing again to block that area. Now notice that when I draw that, I kind of like drawing some really dark and grayish color there I don't really want. I can switch to the erase brush so that I can erase out that area. I don't really want it to be different than before. Okay, and then let me use actually let me go back a little bit, maybe just there. Okay, just want to have some nice blending between the texture I projected earlier and now. Okay, and then let me use my slurp brush one more time just to repositioning some of the details here, make them match with the shape of my eye contour as good as possible. Okay, and then when you're happy, just press B again to project it, and you can move on to the other eye. So let me do the other eye real quick. Now, unfortunately, there is no real 3D in the real 3D symmetry, so you cannot do symmetric way. You can do symmetric way on the buffer, but you cannot do that in real 3D space. Anyway, let me position it properly here, and then start drawing out the details. Oh, you know what? Let me zoom out a little bit. Or yeah, let's just do it here. So it would be better to actually have those all connect together. But maybe we can do that later. Anyway, let me go use the slurp brush one more time just to reposition the detail I projected to their proper location. And press B button to project it. So it's always this process. Then let me go to the side view here, and then switch to the brush one more time. I'm gonna use that little end to fix this little area. Okay, let me use the erase just to blend this part better. B button to project it. Okay, I can probably do the same thing for this side. It seems actually pretty okay on the other side. Just need to some fine tuning. So this step just needs you to be really patient when you're projecting. Make sure that you're getting things as good as possible. Even it's pretty forgiving, right? But still, I think if you can make it really good, you have lesser things to tweak or worry about in the future. So it's pretty good actually already. So I don't think I need to spend too much fine tuning here. some projection around it. You can move it around to get to just repeatedly use one of the part of the model the texture. Okay, now here I have some stretching which I don't really want it to have. Let me actually go to the side of the face. And then I'm gonna project the side of the face right here on the model. I just need to have some good alignment, maybe right over here. Okay, I'm gonna actually just project the result of the face to the side face. Okay, and then B2 project. And we rotate to the other side and do the same thing. Project it, and here I'm gonna use the same kind of like assets just to block that area. If not perfect, just need to fill in with no stretching if I can. Okay, so the side of the face is being taken care of. Let me move on to the final stuff here, which is the mouse. So that's gonna be also zooming in really close to the mouse. Let me scale up my texture, and then draw out the mouse, and then let me use that slurp brush again. Use a fairly big brush just to repositioning the detail to match it with the mouse. So I have a bigger lower lip, so I'm gonna drag it down. I'm also dragging the textures left and right, just to have a better, winkle distribution across the lip. And to do the same thing for the top one. It's actually doing pretty well, I think. So I'm gonna just make it right here. And then let's press U again, and for the bottom ones, they do have a lot of detail for that. I'm not sure if I really wanted that, but I can maybe try to have those there. And here beneath the nose, I can use what's happening here. Oh, it should be bigger. If it's hard, you can turn on the wireframe. And that's supposed to be easier for you to see stuff. Okay, let me draw that out on the side. And maybe I can use the snare brush just to, repositioning those poses. Or, you know what, it's gonna cause a lot of bad result over there, so because of the stretching. So I'm gonna reconsider this projection part. Let me project this first, of course, and move on to this part. Maybe I'm just gonna choose something around the mouse. This one, let's get really big and fill that in. Project and go to the other side and use the information of the other side, because there's not unsymmetrical, but I think they intentionally make the textures left side more noisy than the right side. Maybe that's one of the things you can actually choose either to use the more noisy side or the more even side. Anyway, for the bottom of the nose, I'm just gonna go to the nose part, make a smaller maybe coverage, and then just pen that in. Bake. Don't really need to see that anymore. And just rebake the tip of the nose. eventually. Alright, let me fix that stretching result. So a lot of things you can fine-tune and fix if possible, if you have enough time. Spend more time here before you move on. Let me go to the other side and do the same fixing. Okay. So that part should be all good. And let me check the corner of the eye here and there may need some fine tuning. So let me zoom in here and go to my eye part. Oh, I need it to be bigger. So this part, let me just fill in the necessary detail. And top one here. Okay. And then moving on to the other eyelid. Looks good enough. Maybe I can just do some very simple fine tuning. Use its part of the body. Alright, so that's basically the projection part of the entire production process. You just need to be really careful. Like here, I think I'm having a lot of stretching over there. Let me just use it again, some part of the texture that is good enough. In this case, the side of the face, let me show you. The side of the face is actually pretty good, so I'm going to use that as my projection source just to fix the bottom part, or basically this part of the body, more or less. Okay, and hopefully it's all okay, but yeah, it's never gonna be guaranteed that you don't go back and do some tweaking if it's needed. But for now, let's just use what we're having now. You should spend some more time if you really want to get some really decent results. Alright, so we are done with this. Let's stop this tutorial, and in the next one we're going to actually bring this back to ZBrush so we can see how we can actually achieve some detail with those maps. So see you next time.